space station Unity floated like a silver jewel against the backdrop of stars, its rotating rings creating artificial gravity for the 1,000 souls who now called it home. Through the observation deck's massive windows, Earth hung blue and beautiful on one side, while the purple-tinged world of Zephyr gleamed on the other. This was humanity's boldest experiment, the first joint colony where two species, who had once been enemies, now lived side by side. Marcus stood at his workbench in the engineering bay, his human hands working alongside Zephyrian tools to create something entirely new. The fusion generator he was building combined Earth's nuclear technology with Zephyrian crystal power systems. Sparks flew as he welded another connection, his face lit by the blue glow of alien energy meeting human innovation. "Almost got it," he muttered to himself, adjusting the crystal alignment. Around him, other engineers, both human and Zephyrian, worked on their own projects. The bay hummed with productive energy, conversations flowing in both languages, sometimes mixing into a pidgin that everyone somehow understood. 3 levels up, Kira moved through the training arena like flowing water, demonstrating a combat technique to her mixed class of security recruits. Her violet skin glistened with sweat as she executed a perfect spinning kick, her movements combining Zephyrian strength with techniques Marcus had taught her from Earth's martial arts. "Remember," she called out, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had seen real combat. "Your partner's weakness is your strength. Human reflexes complement Zephyrian power. Zephyrian endurance supports human creativity. Together you become unbeatable." The recruits, 5 humans and 5 Zephyrians, nodded and paired off to practice. Kira watched with satisfaction as they worked together, trust slowly building where suspicion once lived. This was the future she had fought for, died for, and been reborn to create. In the nursery section of their family quarters, 1-year-old Alex pulled himself up using the edge of a low table, his chubby legs wobbling with determination. His features remained that perfect blend of his parents, lavender skin with a subtle pattern of scales that caught the light, eyes that shifted from blue to violet depending on his mood, and dark hair with natural purple highlights that made him look like a little prince from a fairy tale. "Come on, little star," Marcus encouraged, kneeling a few feet away with his arms open. "You can do it." On the opposite side, Kira mirrored his position. "Show us how strong you are, my brave one." Alex looked between his parents, his face scrunched in concentration. Then, with a giggle that sounded like music, he took his first wobbling step away from the table, then another. His arms windmilled for balance as he took a 3rd step, then a 4th. "That's it," Marcus cheered. Alex's face lit up with joy. "Dada!" He squealed in English, then immediately turned to Kira. "Papa," he added in Zephyrian, the word rolling off his tiny tongue as naturally as breathing. He made it 3 more steps before tumbling into Marcus's waiting arms. Both parents rushed together, sandwiching their son in a hug that transcended species, language, and all the history that had once divided their peoples. The door chimed, and they looked up to see Commander Thane standing in the entrance. The old Zephyrian warrior looked different than he had a year ago. The harsh lines of his face had softened, and his military uniform had been replaced with civilian clothes. In his hands he carried a traditional Zephyrian toy, carved from their homeworld's sacred wood. Thane began, then stopped, his eyes fixed on Alex. "I came to apologize, and to ask if I might know my nephew." Kira stood slowly, Alex balanced on her hip. The baby studied Thane with curious eyes, not afraid but interested. For a long moment, sister and brother looked at each other across the divide of their choices. "Family is about choosing love over fear," Kira said finally. "Alex needs to know all of his family, even the parts that once stood against us." Thane's shoulders sagged with relief. He stepped forward carefully, offering the toy to Alex, who grabbed it with delighted hands. "Thank you," he whispered. "I was wrong about everything. The boy, he really is the bridge between our worlds." Marcus stood and placed a hand on Thane's shoulder. "He's not just a bridge. He's proof that we're not really that different. We all want the same things: safety for our children, hope for tomorrow, and peace to enjoy it in." Through the window, A transport ship arrived carrying another 100 families, human and Zephyrian both, ready to start new lives on Unity Station. In the recreation area below, children of both species played together, their laughter echoing through the corridors. The war that had once seemed eternal was becoming a distant memory, replaced by something neither species had dared imagine: true partnership. That evening, as they put Alex to bed in his crib that Marcus had built and Kira had decorated with symbols from both cultures, they stood together watching their son sleep. His small hand clutched the toy from Thane, while a mobile of earth animals and Zephyrian creatures spun slowly above him. "We did it," Marcus whispered, his arm around Kira's waist. "We really created something new." Kira leaned into him, her hand finding his. "Not just something new, something better. Look at him, Marcus. He'll never know the fear we lived with. For him, humans and Zephyrians working together will be normal. Living together, loving together, it will all be just life." "Want to create more miracles?" Marcus asked with a grin, his hand moving to rest on her stomach. Kira smiled, her eyes shining. "Always. This station is big enough for many children, and the universe is vast enough for many stations." As if agreeing, Alex stirred in his sleep, murmuring words in both languages, dreaming dreams that belonged to no single world, but to all the stars that would be his inheritance. The first child of two worlds, sleeping peacefully while his parents planned a future where such miracles would become commonplace. Unity Station continued its orbit, a beacon of hope between two worlds, proving that love could conquer fear, that difference could become strength, and that sometimes the smallest hands could hold the biggest futures. And what about Alex? What if we're wrong? What if he can't really change anything? Kira smiled and touched their son's tiny face. "Look at him, Marcus. He changed us. He changed Thane. He changed an entire fleet of warriors in one moment. If that is not power enough to change a galaxy, what is?" Marcus looked down at Alex, who opened his glowing eyes and smiled up at his parents. "You're right," Marcus said. "Our little bridge builder is going to be just fine." As their ships headed toward the Council homeworld, Marcus wondered what they would find there. Would the High Council listen to reason? Would Alex's power be enough to change hearts hardened by centuries of war? He didn't know, but for the first time in his life, he was willing to find out. Marcus stepped between Kira and Commander Thane, holding baby Alex protectively in his arms. The child gurgled softly, unaware of the danger surrounding them. Marcus's heart pounded, but his voice was steady and strong. "You want to hurt my family?" Marcus said, looking directly at the towering Zephyrian commander. "You'll have to go through me first." Commander Thane threw back his head and laughed. The sound echoed across the landing platform like thunder. "A weak human thinks he can stop me? I am a Zephyrian warrior, trained since birth to fight. You are nothing but soft flesh and fear." "He's my husband," Kira said firmly, moving to stand beside Marcus. "And Alex is my son. You will not touch them, brother." Thane's golden eyes flashed with anger. "That thing is not your son. It's an abomination, a mixing of bloodlines that should never have happened." He signaled to his warriors. "Take the child. Kill the human." But as the Zephyrian soldiers moved forward, something incredible happened. Baby Alex began to glow with soft blue light. His tiny hands reached toward the approaching warriors, and suddenly a shimmering dome of energy surrounded his family. The first soldier's weapon struck the shield and bounced off harmlessly. The energy blast scattered into sparkles of light that danced in the air. Another warrior tried to break through with his bare hands, but the shield held firm. "That's impossible," Thane breathed, his confidence shaking. "The child is only 6 months old. Zephyrian powers don't develop until they're at least 5 years old." Marcus looked down at his son in amazement. Alex was smiling and making happy baby sounds, as if protecting his family was the most natural thing in the world. "He's not just Zephyrian," Marcus said proudly. "He's human too. Maybe that makes him stronger." More Zephyrian ships appeared in the sky, their dark shapes blocking out the sun. But from the opposite direction came human military vessels, their engines roaring as they took defensive positions around the colony. "This is General Hayes of the United Earth Defense Force," came a voice over the communication systems. "Any hostile action against our citizens will be met with full military response." Commander Thane snarled with frustration. Your primitive weapons cannot match Zephyrian technology. Maybe not, Marcus said, his engineer's mind working quickly. He noticed how Alex's shield grew brighter when he and Kira touched the baby at the same time. But you're forgetting something important. This isn't about technology anymore. Marcus knelt and placed his hand on a small device he had been building, a harmonic amplifier designed to boost energy frequencies. He had created it to help with the colony's power systems, but now he saw another use for it. Kira, put your hand on Alex's forehead, he said quickly. Trust me. She did as he asked, and immediately Alex's shield expanded, growing larger and more brilliant. The protective dome now covered not just their family, but several other colonists who had been caught in the battle zone. Impossible, Thane whispered. The child's power is growing. Love makes us stronger, Marcus said simply. That's something your warrior culture never understood. The battle began in earnest. Zephyrian warriors fired their advanced weapons while human soldiers responded with everything they had. Energy blasts and bullets filled the air. But in the center of it all, Marcus, Kira, and baby Alex stood safe inside their shield of light. Kira fought alongside her husband, using her Zephyrian combat skills to protect their family and the human colonists. When her own people attacked, she didn't hesitate to fight back. Her loyalty was clear. She had chosen love over war, family over duty. Sister, Thane called out during a brief pause in the fighting. It's not too late. Return to your people. Abandon this weakness. This isn't weakness, Kira replied, holding Marcus's hand while their son glowed between them. This is strength. Real strength comes from protecting those you love, not from destroying those who are different. The battle raged around them, with neither side gaining a clear advantage. Human courage matched Zephyrian technology, but the cost was growing higher with each passing minute. Then Alex did something that changed everything. The baby's eyes began to shine with pure white light. He gurgled and reached out his tiny hands toward both armies. Suddenly, every soldier, human and Zephyrian alike, stopped fighting as images filled their minds. They saw visions of peace, humans and Zephyrians working together, building cities among the stars. They saw children like Alex playing in gardens where both species lived in harmony. They saw a future where differences were celebrated instead of feared. The images were so beautiful, so full of hope and possibility, that tears began to flow down hardened warriors' faces. Weapons dropped to the ground as soldiers on both sides stared at the glowing child who had shown them a better way. He's showing us what could be, Marcus whispered in awe. Not what we're fighting about, but what we're fighting for. Commander Thane fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the peaceful visions. The child, he has the gift of true sight. He can see the path to unity that we have all forgotten. In the sudden silence that followed, with armies on both sides laying down their weapons, baby Alex smiled and reached for his father's face. The shield of light faded, but somehow everyone knew that something much more powerful had taken its place. Hope for a better future had been born in the heart of a half-human, half-alien child who saw only love where others saw difference. 3 weeks of running across the galaxy had turned Marcus Chen into a different man. He sat in the pilot seat of their stolen ship, baby Alex sleeping in his arms, while Kira studied star maps at the navigation console. They had jumped from system to system, planet to planet, always one step ahead of the Council hunters. Marcus had learned to change diapers in zero gravity, mix formula with alien water purifiers, and sing lullabies while dodging laser fire. Being a father was nothing like the book said it would be. Any luck finding us a safe place? Marcus asked quietly, trying not to wake Alex. Kira looked exhausted. Dark circles shadowed her glowing eyes, and her silver hair was tied back in a messy knot. There are rumors of a hidden colony in the neutral zone, mixed species who live in secret. Sounds perfect. What's the catch? The catch is that it might not exist, and if it does exist, they might not want visitors who bring Council death squads with them. Marcus looked down at Alex, who was making soft baby noises in his sleep. Over the past 3 weeks, the child had grown faster than any human baby should. He was already the size of a 3-month-old, and his blue eyes seemed to understand everything around him. He's changing, Marcus said. Look at his hands. Alex's tiny fingers were longer than they had been a week ago. and when he gripped Marcus's thumb, his strength was incredible for such a small child. The prophecy texts say bridge children develop quickly, Kira said. Their bodies know they have important work to do. What kind of work exactly? Marcus asked. The crystals show pictures and symbols, but I can't read ancient Zephyrian. Kira hesitated. There are things I have not told you yet. Things I was afraid to say. Like what? Before Kira could answer, their ship's alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across the control panels. Council ships! Kira ran to the pilot controls. 4 of them coming from hyperspace. I thought we lost them at the asteroid field. They are tracking us somehow. Kira's hands flew over the controls, preparing for another desperate escape jump. But this time something was different. As the council ships closed in, baby Alex woke up and began to cry. Not the normal cry of a hungry or scared baby, but something deeper and more powerful. The crystal devices, sitting on the navigation console, began to glow brighter than they ever had before. What's happening? Marcus asked. I do not know, Kira said. This has never happened before. Alex's crying grew louder, and the crystals pulsed with brilliant light. Suddenly, images filled the air around them, not the ancient symbols they had seen before, but clear pictures that told a story. Marcus saw 2 beautiful planets orbiting twin suns. On one planet lived beings that looked like humans. On the other lived beings that looked like Zephyrians. But they were not separate species. They were one people, living in harmony across both worlds. The origin worlds, Kira whispered, before the Great Division. The images changed, showing the same people, but now they were fighting. Brothers against sisters, families torn apart. One group fled to the stars in great ships, becoming the nomad warriors that would be called Zephyrians. The other group stayed on the planets, eventually spreading across the galaxy as human colonists. We really are the same people, Marcus breathed. The war that split us was about fear, Kira said, watching the images. Fear of differences, fear of change, fear of losing power. The images shifted again, showing something that made both of them gasp. It was Alex, but older, maybe 5 years old. He stood between 2 massive armies, one human and one Zephyrian. Light poured from his hands, and wherever it touched, the soldiers stopped fighting and embraced each other. He's going to end the war, Marcus said. Not just end it, Kira said with wonder. He's going to remind both species who they really are, one people meant to live together. The images faded as Alex stopped crying and looked up at his parents with ancient wisdom in his baby eyes. But their moment of revelation was interrupted by weapons fire. The council ships were attacking. Shields failing, Kira reported. We cannot outrun them this time. Then we fight, Marcus said, surprising himself with how calm he sounded. Marcus, you do not understand. These are council enforcers. Each ship carries 50 warriors. We have no weapons. Marcus looked at the crystal devices still glowing softly. Maybe we don't need weapons. He picked up both crystals, one in each hand. Immediately he felt power flowing through him, not his power, but Alex's power, channeled through the ancient devices. What are you doing? Kira asked. Something crazy, Marcus said. Take us straight toward the lead council ship. That is suicide. Trust me. Kira stared at him, then smiled. You know what? After 3 weeks of impossible things, why not one more? She turned their ship directly toward the massive council warship. Warning shots blazed around them, then real weapons fire. Their shields flickered and failed. Just before they would have crashed into the enemy ship, Marcus held up the crystals and focused all his love for Alex, all his love for Kira, all his hope for the future. Light exploded from the crystals. Not destructive light, but healing light. It passed through both ships and touched every mind inside them. For one perfect moment, every person in the council fleet saw what Alex had shown his parents. They saw the truth of who they really were. They saw the ancient connection between human and Zephyrian. They saw the possibility of peace. The weapons fire stopped. Marcus collapsed, drained by the effort. Kira caught him as he fell. Did it work? He gasped. I think so, Kira said in amazement. The lead council ship was sending a communication request instead of more weapons fire. This is Commander Thane of the 3rd Enforcement Fleet, came a voice over the radio. A voice that sounded shaken and confused. We need to talk. An hour later, they were sitting in the conference room of the Council warship. Commander Thane was a tall Zephyrian with scars across his face and doubt in his eyes. "What you showed us," he said slowly, "was that real?" "Real as anything," Marcus said, holding Alex in his arms. The baby was staring at Commander Thane with curious eyes. "But the history we learned." "Humans and Zephyrians have always been enemies, since the beginning of time." "The beginning of recorded time," Kira corrected. "But there was time before that. Time when we were one people." Commander Thane looked at Alex. "And this child, he is the bridge the prophecies speak of." "The first bridge," Marcus said. "There will be others." "How can you be sure?" Marcus smiled and held out Alex toward the commander. "Hold him. See for yourself." Commander Thane hesitated, then took the baby carefully in his scarred hands. The moment Alex touched him, the commander's expression changed completely. "By the ancient stars," he whispered. "I can feel it. The connection. The truth." He looked up at Marcus and Kira with tears in his eyes. "We are family, all of us. We forgot, but we are family." "That's what Alex does," Kira said softly. "He reminds people of who they really are underneath all the fear and hate." Commander Thane handed Alex back to Marcus. "The Council will not accept this. They have spent too many years building power on the foundation of war." "Then we'll have to change their minds," Marcus said. "With what? You cannot use those crystals again so soon. The power nearly killed you." Marcus looked at Alex, then at Kira. "We don't need the crystals. We have something better." "What? Love?" Kira said, understanding. "The love between a human and Zephyrian, the love for our child, the love that created the impossible." Commander Thane shook his head. "Love will not stop Council warships." "No," Marcus agreed. "But it will stop the people inside those warships. One person at a time, one heart at a time." "You want to convert the entire Council fleet?" "Not convert," Kira said, "remind. Help them remember what they forgot long ago." Commander Thane was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up and walked to the window, looking out at his fleet of ships. "There is something you should know," he said finally. "I am not just any commander. I am Kira's brother." Marcus felt the world shift around him. "Brother?" Kira gasped. "Thane? Little Thane?" Commander Thane turned around, and Marcus could see the family resemblance now. The same glowing eyes, the same strong jawline. "Hello, sister," Thane said sadly. "I have been hunting you for 3 weeks, under orders to bring you back for execution." "And now?" Kira asked. Thane looked at Alex, sleeping peacefully in Marcus's arms. "Now I think I understand why you chose love over duty. He is beautiful, Kira. Your son is beautiful." "Our son," Marcus corrected gently. "Yes," Thane smiled. "Our son, my nephew." He paused. "The child who is going to save us all from ourselves." "Will you help us?" Kira asked. "I will do more than help you," Thane said. "I will take you to the High Council myself. Not as prisoners, but as ambassadors. Is that safe?" Marcus asked. "Nothing about this is safe," Thane replied. "But it is right. And sometimes right is more important than safe." As their ships prepared for the journey to the Council homeworld, Marcus held Alex close and thought about how much his life had changed. 6 months ago he was a lonely engineer. Now he was a father, a partner in an impossible love story, and maybe the key to ending a war that had lasted for centuries. "Scared?" Kira asked, sitting beside him. "Terrified," Marcus admitted, "but also hopeful." "Good," she said, taking his free hand. "Fear keeps us careful. Hope keeps us moving forward." Then, from the main ship, came a figure Marcus knew by heart. Kira stepped onto Earth soil like a goddess visiting the mortal world. She wore different armor now. Not the battle-worn gear from their first meeting, but ceremonial robes that flowed like liquid starlight. Her silver hair was longer and her glowing blue eyes looked tired. But what made Marcus's heart stop was what she carried in her arms. A bundle of soft cloth. And from that bundle came the sound every human recognized, a baby crying. Marcus ran across the street, pushing through panicking crowds. Zephyrian soldiers raised their weapons at him, but Kira held up her hand. "Let him pass," she said in her musical voice. "He is expected." Marcus stopped a few feet away from her, breathing hard. "Kira, what are you doing here?" What's happening? Kira looked at him with eyes full of fear, love, and something that looked like desperation. Marcus Chen of Earth, she said formally, I need to speak with you, privately. The Zephyrian soldiers created a protective circle around them. Kira's second-in-command, a tall warrior with scars on his face, looked unhappy. Commander, the scarred warrior said, we should not remain here long. The council ships are 3 hours behind us. I know, Vex, Kira replied, but this cannot wait. She looked at Marcus and her formal warrior mask cracked. Underneath was the woman who had shared 3 nights with him, who had laughed at his terrible jokes and cried when he played sad music. Marcus, she whispered, we need to go somewhere safe. There are things I must tell you, things that will change everything. Marcus looked at the bundle in her arms. The crying had stopped, and now he could see a tiny face peeking out of the cloth. The baby had Kira's blue skin, but the features looked familiar. Kira, Marcus said slowly. Whose baby is that? Her glowing eyes filled with tears. Come with me, and I will explain everything. They went to Marcus's apartment, leaving the Zephyrian soldiers to guard the building. Marcus's neighbors had all fled, so the hallways were empty and quiet. In his living room, Kira finally unwrapped the bundle completely. Marcus felt his world tilt sideways. The baby was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The child had Kira's blue skin and silver hair, but the face was definitely human. More than human, it looked exactly like Marcus had as a baby, down to the same nose and chin. This is impossible, Marcus breathed. That is what I thought too, Kira said softly. When I discovered I was carrying a child, the Zephyrian medical officers said it could not be. Humans and Zephyrians cannot reproduce together. Our DNA is too different. She sat down on Marcus's couch, holding the baby carefully. But then he was born, and the impossible became real. Marcus sat beside her, staring at the child. His name is Alex, Kira said. I chose a human name because I hoped someday you would meet him. Alex, Marcus repeated. The baby opened his eyes at the sound and Marcus gasped. The child had Kira's glowing blue eyes, but they were shaped exactly like Marcus's. He is ours, Marcus, Kira said. Your son and mine. Marcus felt like he couldn't breathe. My son, but how is that possible? I do not know. But the Zephyrian scientists ran every test they could. His DNA is half human, half Zephyrian. He should not exist, but he does. Marcus reached out slowly and touched the baby's tiny hand. Alex wrapped his little fingers around Marcus's thumb with surprising strength. He knows you, Kira said with wonder. Look how he responds to your voice. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Marcus asked. Why wait 8 months? Kira's face grew dark. Because my people, our people, they are not happy about Alex's existence. She stood up and walked to the window, still holding the baby. In Zephyrian culture, mixed blood is forbidden. Children must be pure warriors with no alien contamination. Contamination? Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. He's not contaminated. He's perfect, I know that. You know that. But the Warrior Council does not agree. Kira's voice was full of pain. They want to eliminate the problem. Marcus felt cold fear wash over him. You mean they want to kill him? And me for creating him? Kira turned from the window. I'm branded a traitor now, banished from my fleet, hunted by my own people. That's why you came to Earth. Partially, but there is more. Kira reached into her robes and pulled out another crystal device, identical to the one she had left at the mining station. These crystals contain information from our oldest archives, prophecies and legends that most Zephyrians have forgotten. The crystal began to glow as she held it. Images appeared in the air above it. Ancient symbols, star maps, pictures of beings that looked both human and Zephyrian. What does it say? Marcus asked. That this has happened before. Long ago, humans and Zephyrians were the same people. We were split apart by war and pride and fear. But the prophecies speak of a bridge child who will reunite the two halves of our original species. Marcus looked at baby Alex, who was staring at the glowing images with fascination. You think Alex is this bridge child? I think Alex is the first of many, Kira said. The prophecies say that once the bridge is built, others will follow. Humans and Zephyrians will remember they are family. But if that's true, if Alex is so important, why do your people want to kill him? Kira's expression grew grim. Because some Zephyrians profit from the war between our peoples. And some humans do too. Peace would cost them power and money. Marcus understood. So they're willing to murder a baby to keep the conflict going. Yes, and they are coming here now. Kira walked back to Marcus and placed Alex in his arms. The baby looked up at his father and made a small, happy sound. Marcus felt his heart break and heal at the same time. This tiny person was his son, his child with the woman he loved. And people wanted to destroy their family before it could even begin. What do we do? He asked. We run, we hide. We protect Alex until he is old enough to protect himself. How long will that take? Kira smiled sadly. According to the prophecies, bridge children grow fast and develop powers early, but we may only have months, not years. Marcus looked down at Alex, who was reaching up toward his father's face with tiny blue fingers. What kind of powers? The ability to understand and communicate with both species, enhanced strength and intelligence, and something the prophecies call heart sight, the power to show others their true nature. That sounds useful. It also sounds dangerous. There are people who do not want their true nature revealed. A loud alarm suddenly filled the air. Outside, Marcus could see Zephyrian soldiers running toward their ships. Vex, Kira's second-in-command, appeared at the apartment door. Commander, Council ships detected. They will be here in 20 minutes. Kira grabbed Marcus's arm. We have to go now. Go where? This is my home. Not anymore, Kira said grimly. If we stay here, they will kill all three of us. And if they kill Alex, the bridge between our peoples dies with him. Marcus looked around his small apartment, his old life, his safe life, his boring life. Then he looked at Alex, sleeping peacefully in his arms despite all the chaos. His son, his family, his future. Okay, Marcus said. Let's go. As they rushed toward the door, Marcus grabbed the first crystal device from his desk. When the two crystals came close together, they both blazed with brilliant light. What's happening? Marcus asked. The prophecy is activating, Kira said with wonder. The crystals recognize Alex as the true bridge child. Is that good or bad? Both, Kira said. It means Alex really is special, but it also means everyone in the galaxy will know where he is. They ran down the stairs as Zephyrian ships lifted off outside. Through the windows, Marcus could see new ships arriving, bigger, darker, with red symbols instead of blue. The Council fleet, Kira said grimly. They found us faster than expected. As they reached the ground floor, the building shook with weapon fire. The Council ships were attacking Kira's loyal soldiers. This way! Kira led them toward a back exit. I have one ship left, hidden in the old subway tunnel. They ran through empty streets as alien weapons lit up the sky above them. Marcus held Alex close, trying to shield him from the noise and chaos. Kira, he said as they ran, I need you to know something. What? I never forgot you. These 8 months I thought about you every day. Even running for their lives, Kira smiled. I know, I felt the same way. Really? Marcus Chen, she said, you are the father of my child and the keeper of my heart. Of course I felt the same way. They reached the hidden ship just as Council forces surrounded the area. As they climbed aboard, Marcus looked back at his old life one last time. Any regrets? Kira asked, starting the ship's engines. Marcus looked at baby Alex, then at the woman who had turned his world upside down twice now. Only one, he said. I wish we had more time to figure this out. We will, Kira said as their ship lifted off. We have to. As Earth fell away below them, Marcus realized he was no longer just a lonely engineer fixing broken machines. He was a father, a partner, and maybe the key to saving two species from destroying each other. It was terrifying and wonderful and completely impossible, just like everything else that had happened since he met Kira. The warning alarm screamed through the empty mining station like angry ghosts. Marcus Chen dropped his wrench and ran to the main control room. Red lights flashed everywhere. His computer screen showed something that made his heart stop. A massive alien warship was falling straight toward his station. No, no, no! Marcus typed commands as fast as he could, but the ship was too close and moving too fast. In 30 seconds, it would crash into his home. Marcus was the only human on mining station Alpha 7. The company had abandoned it 6 months ago, but Marcus stayed behind to fix the broken equipment. He liked being alone. No bosses, no crowds, no problems. Just him, his tools, and the endless quiet of space. But now that quiet was about to end in a very loud explosion. The alien ship hit the station's docking bay with a sound like thunder. Marcus was thrown to the floor as the whole station shook. Emergency lights came on. The air recycling system started making strange noises. Great, Marcus muttered, getting back on his feet. Now I have to fix everything and deal with aliens. He had never seen a real alien before. Earth government said they were dangerous. The news always showed them as monsters who wanted to destroy humanity. But Marcus was curious. He grabbed his medical kit and headed toward the docking bay. The alien ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It was made of black metal that seemed to absorb light. Strange symbols glowed blue along its sides. Smoke poured from holes in its hull. As Marcus got closer, a door on the ship opened with a hiss. Out stepped the most amazing and frightening creature Marcus had ever seen. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with skin the color of a summer sky. Her hair was silver white and moved like it was underwater. Her eyes glowed with soft blue light. She wore armor that looked like it was made from starlight and shadows. But what made Marcus's breath catch was not how alien she looked. It was how beautiful she was. The alien woman took one step, then collapsed to her knees. Green blood dripped from cuts on her arms and face. Her glowing eyes looked up at Marcus with pain and something else. Surprise. Human, she said in a voice like music mixed with thunder. She spoke perfect English, but with an accent Marcus had never heard before. "Yeah, I'm human," Marcus said, kneeling down beside her. "And you're hurt." She tried to stand, but fell again. "My ship, the storm, I could not control." Marcus looked out the docking bay window. A massive space storm was building outside. Lightning cracked between the stars. No ship could fly safely through that. "You're stuck here until the storm passes," Marcus told her. "That's usually about 3 days." The alien woman's glowing eyes went wide. 3 days? With a human? "Hey, I don't bite," Marcus said with a small smile. "I'm Marcus, by the way. What's your name?" She hesitated like she was deciding whether to trust him. "I am Kira of the Zephyrian Empire." Marcus felt his heart skip. Zephyrians were the most feared warriors in the galaxy. They could fight 100 enemies at once and win. They never showed mercy. They never retreated. But this Zephyrian was bleeding on his floor, looking scared and lost. "Well, Kira of the Zephyrian Empire," Marcus said, opening his medical kit. "Let me help you with those cuts." "Why?" she asked suspiciously. "Your people and my people are enemies." Marcus thought about that. "Maybe, but right now you're just someone who needs help, and I'm someone who can give it." He began cleaning her wounds carefully. Kira flinched at first, but then relaxed as she realized he was being gentle. "Human skin is so soft," she said, touching his hand as he worked. "I thought all humans were weak and fragile." "We're tougher than we look," Marcus replied. "And Zephyrian skin is warmer than I expected. I thought you'd be cold like reptiles." Kira laughed, and the sound was like silver bells. "We are not reptiles, human Marcus. We are warriors born from the heart of stars." Over the next few hours, Marcus showed Kira around the station. She was amazed by human music, especially the sad songs Marcus played while working. She tasted human food for the first time and said it was surprisingly complex for such a simple species. Marcus was fascinated by her stories of Zephyrian culture. They lived on ships that traveled between dimensions. They trained from childhood to be perfect fighters. They believed strength was the only virtue that mattered. "But what about love?" Marcus asked as they shared dinner. "What about friendship, family?" Kira's glowing eyes grew sad. "Warriors do not need such things. They make us weak." "That's not true," Marcus said softly. "Love makes us strong. It gives us reasons to fight, reasons to protect others." "You speak strangely for a human," Kira said. "The reports say your people are selfish and cruel." "The reports are wrong," Marcus replied. "Just like the reports about your people being heartless monsters." They talked through the night. Kira told him about the loneliness of warrior life, always traveling, always fighting, never having a home. Marcus told her about losing his family in an accident, how he came to this empty station to escape the pain of Earth. "We are both alone," Kira said as they watched the storm rage outside. "Not tonight," Marcus said, taking her hand. Her blue skin was warm against his pale fingers. For a moment, they just looked at each other, human and alien, supposedly enemies, but feeling something neither had expected. The storm outside grew stronger, but inside the station something beautiful was beginning. On the second night, as they sat close together watching the lightning dance between the stars, Kira touched Marcus's face gently. "I have never met anyone like you, human Marcus," she whispered. "Same here, warrior Kira," he whispered back. What happened next was tender and passionate and impossible. Two different species, two different worlds, finding something perfect together in the darkness of space. Marcus had read that humans and aliens could never truly connect. But holding Kira in his arms, feeling her heartbeat against his chest, he knew the scientists were wrong. Love didn't care about species or skin color or the space between stars. On the third morning, the storm finally ended. Kira's rescue ships appeared on the horizon, gleaming like silver arrows against the black of space. Marcus and Kira stood in the docking bay, knowing their time was over. "Will I see you again?" Marcus asked. Kira looked sad and beautiful and distant, like she was already becoming a warrior again. "I do not know. My people. Your people. It is complicated." The rescue ships landed. Zephyrian soldiers in bright armor came to get their lost warrior. As Kira walked toward her people, she dropped something small and crystal clear on the floor. Marcus saw it but said nothing. She looked back at him once, her glowing eyes full of something that looked like goodbye and maybe something more. Then she was gone, lifted away by ships that moved like falling stars. Marcus stood alone in his empty station, holding the small crystal device Kira had dropped. He didn't know what it was, but somehow he knew it was important. He also didn't know that in 8 months his whole world would change again. Because sometimes one night can create something that lasts forever. 8 months had passed since Kira left, and Marcus Chen was still a mess. He sat in his small apartment on Earth, staring at the crystal device she had dropped. He had tried everything to make it work, connecting it to computers, scanning it with medical equipment, even taking it to alien technology experts. Nothing happened. It just sat on his desk, like a beautiful, useless reminder of 3 perfect days. Marcus had returned to Earth after fixing the mining station. But Earth felt wrong now. Too crowded, too loud, too normal. He kept looking up at the stars, wondering where Kira was, if she ever thought about him. He had tried to contact the Zephyrian Empire through official channels. The Earth government laughed at him. "You want to send a love letter to alien warriors?" they said. They'd probably use it for target practice, so Marcus went back to his old job, fixing broken machines and trying to forget the most beautiful woman he had ever met. That was when the sky caught fire. Marcus was eating lunch outside his apartment building when the shadows fell. Everyone on the street stopped and looked up. Massive ships were descending through Earth's atmosphere. Ships that looked like black metal flowers with glowing blue centers. Zephyrian warships. Hundreds of them. People screamed and ran. Car alarms went off. Emergency broadcasts filled the air. "This is not a drill. Alien invasion in progress. Seek shelter immediately." But Marcus didn't run. He recognized those ships. He had seen one crash land 8 months ago. The largest warship landed in the park across from Marcus's building. Smaller ships formed a protective circle around it. Zephyrian soldiers in bright armor poured out, weapons ready.